And we've got the new Starlink mobility bracket, and it comes in its standard style box. It's got a set of basic instructions. They do have some better online instructions available, but it is pretty simplistic. It is a metal bracket, and it does have a rubber insert to give it a little bit of helps with the sealing the water. I would assume is their intent with that. And it comes with a box of hardware. There's two sets of hardware here. There's your lag bolts, and then there's the stainless steel self-locking nut and stainless steel bolt, and then they have a washer that's got an integrated gasket in it, and that's designed to go in with a gasket on the inside of the bracket. This would be sticking up and through your roof, and your self-locking nut would be on the inside. Now, I think for most applications, it's not really super clear on the instructions what they're showing, and you take a look at the picture that they have there. They've got a square piece of material and a piece of backing material. So I'm assuming the first piece, if you're going through some heavy material, if you're going through just the single skin of like a vehicle, you may want to back that up with a small piece of say 1/8" plywood on the inside, and make it a little bit bigger than the bolt pattern to help distribute the weight and give it a little bit better support on the roof. If you're putting it onto an RV roof, bolting straight through the RV roof, you're probably not going to need that. You may end up needing a little bit longer bolts. So you just have to kind of take a look at your installation, just figure out what you need before you go to start your project. So we're just going to take a quick look at how to put this together. Obviously, you remove this standard fold out leg that comes with it, and to do that, if you haven't taken it apart, just slide your fingers underneath and squeeze the two sections together and pull this up out of that bracket, and that'll get that out of your way. Get rid of our hardware, and when you put this in, make sure you do not try and go underneath here. They've actually added a block there so you can't get the wire underneath that, which was a problem on the old design. Some people would put it in underneath there, and if this got pulled, that could actually release the bracket. Alright, so there again, we want to put this together. You want to bring your cable in through the inside of the circle there, and it's going to come up through the back end, right? So you're going to stick that in. Tab's going to go upright, and you'll notice that the tab's going in. Don't worry about it if you haven't done one before. That's not a locking tab. As you can see, it's rounded. It's just putting some pressure in there. And then we've got the gasket, and this is the biggest reason to make sure you use the factory cables, because these do seal it up pretty nice. Where, yes, a Cat 45, Cat 10, and anything in between will plug in there, and it doesn't lock in, but just give it a nice snug pop in. If you're putting it up and you're going to leave it up, it wouldn't hurt to put a very light dab of silicone around that if you wanted to, just an option. If you're going to be taking it in and out or changing it between vehicles, well, then you probably don't want to do that. So at that point, once it's on the roof, this will be able to just slide in, and there again you'll hear it click, get a snap. Alright, and then you'll come in from underneath. Now you remember, you only have that much space with this coming off. You only got about that much space there. So as you come in, you're going to come in with this, and that's wrench's ball head. So that swivels. It gives you a little bit of swivel with still getting a good contact. And you're going to put them in hand tight. Don't over torque them. Just get them in and snug them. And what that does is that's locking that release bar. You can see the split in the bar. That's connecting the two together, so this would not be able to be lifted up or let it vibrate out. It's going to keep that lock pretty positive. And then if you do have to take it off, you back them out. And it's easier to do here because I can put my hand, I can put my thumb on the inside and lift up here. Now when you get it out on the vehicle, they don't give you anything like really right here, but you'll notice if you take this, if you can see it, and if you push that in, that is kind of pushing up, but you may want to come up with some sort of counter lever, and I'm sure somebody with a graphic printer can maybe print up a tool for that. Alright, so we're going to take a look at it from the other side. This is how you're going to be mounting it down if you're going to put it on the roof. Obviously this would be, you get this laid out, it shows you on the diagram, is you get this laid out on the roof, get your measurements off. You've got two flat sides there, two flat sides on either side here to get your measurements from, and get it squared up where you want it to sit. And then get a marker and mark your 4 holes, all right, where the bolts are going to drop in. And you're going to want to make sure that when you put that in, you're putting it in. You can see the bolt, if you're using the nut and bolt combination, that they put that washer, the washer is going to go in on this side. It's going to drop in like that with the washer resting on here to help get you a seal. I would still obviously get some good silicone, a bit of clear silicone, and give it a dab on the bottom side. Once you get this in, you can always put a dab inside, and make sure you got a good amount of silicone in around everything to help beef it up. Now remember, this is all open up here to the environment, so weather can get in here. So once you get those in, you get it all in, I'd silicone these heads completely over, and just make sure you're not going to get any leaks. And when you put it on, when you go to put it on the roof, fine, on the final pop, I do a circle around on the outside of each of these, and you can even do the perimeter of the rubber gasket that's on there. And make sure that would also, and you know, and the thing about silicone is you can also get some silicone in here, because there is a bit of a difference in elevation right there. You can feel the ridge. So a good dab of silicone when you go to do the final pop, put it on, get it to sit where it's sitting nice and level, and then leave it alone and let it dry for at least a few hours before you're gonna mess with it, or maybe even before you try and put the dish on it. And what'll happen is that silicone will, number one, act a bit as an adhesive, but it'll build up a bit of a levelizer there, so that you won't have any vibration of metal banging or anything else. And like I said, when you're putting it through the roof, this is going to go through the roof. So if this is the top of our vehicle, if it's not something that's substantial, if it's just like the steel of a vehicle or a van or something like that, you probably want to take and cut out a piece of plywood or something, or it could be even just a piece of aluminum stock, depending what you have available. And that's kind of what they're showing in the instructions. They don't kind of come out and say that, but the implication there is to put this as the roof, and then the piece of plywood, because you can see the wood grain, and put that on the inside. If you're screwing through, and if you're going through like regular Luan style roofing on a trailer, you definitely want that piece of wood on the inside, so you have a little bit of thickness there to get it to bite into that. You know, so just think about that. You definitely want support. You don't want it flopping around, because that vibration is going to start to break stuff up. So this is a ram mount, and we're using the RV flat mount bracket, and we put a ram mount on it. We've been using these for a little while. Here's an example of the one that we're using right now. This has a piece of Cat 7 flat cable, 25 foot, and that works nice if you bring it in temporary and you bring it inside a vehicle door. It lays flat. And this one's got the bolt that's pinned up tight, and it's mounted onto the old style pipe mount. The new pipe mounts won't do this because they're raised up, so you won't have that flat surface. But if you have any of the old ones, they're reusable. If you don't want them, look us up, rescueinternational.org, and send them to our P.O. box. We'll put them to good use with our disaster crew. And then on this, you can take the ball, and you got one hole lined up, and you just have to drill 2 other holes. And this allows you to take it and turn it. You can have it in that transport position, you can take it off easily, or you can actually, once you're in position, get it to turn, because you still get your best signal when it's actually facing to the north and gives you a little bit better bandwidth. That's the RAM 2.2, I think it is, inch ball mount. Look at with the unit up on the roof, you've got a limited amount of space coming in. You can get the screwdriver in, so you can tighten up and loosen and you can get your hand in there so that you can pull down on that. Probably some sort of a counter lever tool would probably be a little bit better in doing that, but you can get in and out. And you see how it gives you a little bit of a downward slope. That's to allow the rain to run off and snow to melt down. Okay, so you can see how once you get it mounted, now obviously here don't have it bolted down. And ideally, if you can get yourself in a cabinet where you can bring this down through the roof on your camper, RV, motorhome, command post trailer, if you have some sort of roof cabinet or enclosure where you can bring your wiring in and put your bolts through the ceiling. Now this ceiling on this trailer is basically, it's like a fiber board with insulation in it and plywood, like a luan on the inside, so it doesn't have a super amount of strength. So you want to make sure you put that backing plate on the inside. Take a piece of 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch plywood. But you can see it out of locket. You've got the room, you can get your tool in, and that allows you to take it and then you can turn it, tighten the 2 screws up, and just get them in hand tight. And that just stops this from being able to vibrate out of its 2 little pockets on the bottom of the dish that holds it in place. And then when you want to remove it, slide it off the bracket, loosen that up, and then you're going to have to get something to push down on this. And they've made it pretty big, and I have a fairly good sized hand, so I can push down on that, probably enough to push down on it and grab the antenna with my other hand and take it and slide it forward, and it'll come out of the bracket. Now you can see on the front that it does lay pretty close, a little bit of a gap, so you want to think about where you're putting it. Now here we have the vent from the bathroom, so you got a little bit of blockage on this part of the angle. Shouldn't bother it too much. There again, the angle is provided to get snow and rain to drain off, and you want to mount it so that it's aerodynamic when it's moving, so the lower side to the front, and that puts your connector to the back so you don't have water getting forced into the opening, because it is open inside there. And that cable is secured on this bracket, as most of them. It does have the aperture on the inside of the bracket that holds the plug-in tight, so it does seal up pretty good. Now if you take a look at the roof, you've got a lot of mounting areas. Probably mounting it right in the center, if you're not expecting to take it on and off much, would be the place to put it. You get a little bit of protection, but don't get right up against it. You want to probably be more back this way. Obviously the right side's not as good because you do get more trees and branches when you're on smaller roads. And the left hand side up there would be good. And on the back of this we have a light back, or a skylight back here, so that kind of takes that out. But you could mount it on the side where you could get at it from the side. So this is a good location for what we're doing, because we do take it off and move it around between multiple vehicles. It'll get put on our command truck 1, or the response utility van, or it might be put on this on a out-of-town trip or a major disaster response. But we can get up here with a ladder and remove it fairly quickly, and then we have extra cables, so the cable can just stay with the trailer.
This is a common style wire access port to bring the cable into the trailer or RV from Amazon. Be sure to size it for a CAT or J45 connector. Thank you for watching, and please support our channel and our cause by subscribing to the channel and like this video. Please post any constructive comments and questions. Thank you from Bruce and the crew.